All right. Make sure we're all live and good to go. Double check audio this time before that's should be popped up on Facebook. Do. Nothing. This says I'm good. Says we're live on the Facebook here. Now we just gotta have the audio. That would help. Alrighty. See if we got volume. Yep, we're good. Alrighty. See if we got volume. We're good on YouTube. And good on good. Good on the Facebook. So, episode 3, Whitetails and Whiskey. Got Nate here tonight for this. He's going to be kind of checking on the comments and contributing to the conversation. And drinking beer. A little bit of whiskey. And talking about whitetails and everything going into season. So,
what is the whiskey we got here?
Whiskey of tonight is one of our staples at Ben's Bar. This is Bird Dog Apple. This is usually our little schnooter. So that's going to be the go-to tonight. You want the buffalo glass or the straight glass?
I guess I got buffalo. Hey, buffalo's tearing it up.
Oh, yeah,
Gotta go with the buffalo glass.
Gotta go with the hot hand. Yeah. All right, cheers to episode 3. Whitetails and Whiskey.
Get her done.
Somehow I ended up with a buffalo glass.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So to the Bills in hopes for New York Super Bowl.
New York Super Bowl. Yeah. So anyway, so Nate, this afternoon you were out on a couple of your pieces, checking out a couple things. How's stuff looking this year?
Pretty good. This is my first year trying to broadcast some stuff into, I guess, browning beans and anything like that. I've never done anything quite like that. So they seem to be growing.
Mm-hmm.
A little spotty. I'm not sure if that's how I spread it or you never really know, I guess. But, I mean, it's greening. It's still a little early for it to grow. There's still a lot of bean coverage out there. And then another piece, instead of broadcasting into beans, I knocked down a bunch of standing weeds that were on the edge of a cornfield. As a farmer left, 15, 20 foot from the edge, which seems like a lot of farmers are doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just drove the 4-wheeler through, knocked them down, just to break them and hopes that they die off, and broadcasting into that, and I'm actually getting some pretty good germination in there. So
perfect. Poor man's plots, man.
Yeah, poor man's plots. So we'll see how they turn out later in the season. I'm kind of hoping that they attract something later in the year, not necessarily early, but we'll see.
Yep, and you said they're probably picking that corn. They're probably not going to sandwich cut that because they'd be cutting it already.
Yeah, I think they're gonna pick it. So that means the corn's gonna be there a little longer. Usually around gun season is when they start picking.
When it gets dried out.
A couple weeks into November.
Perfect. Got some good cover there next to some food and rolling with it. So yeah, so my food plots, actually, a little update on the white spot that I had going on with my fields. It knocked out really isolated weird pockets in the fields.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to a buddy of mine that does some farming and has had some experience with it, that's kind of a result of a heavier, basis of that in the soil. So then, obviously it's affected a lot of it, but I've actually got pretty good growth outside of that. So some of the varieties push through. I have to wait till they get a little bit more mature to see what specifically pushed through. But it looks like the radishes are basically untouched. And talking to my dad, and my dad's been looking through magazine articles because, of course, he doesn't do the internet. But
the older generation.
Yeah. So he was talking that the radishes aren't really affected at all by it. So we're getting a lot of, obviously good radish growth, and they're more of a vigorously growing, one that was in that mix. So that's looking good. And then I'm just waiting on my wheat and rye to top dress in these last plots, and we'll be good to go with it. But other than that, food plots, you were a big help getting everything planted this year on
Yeah.
mine, a couple client pieces. So I appreciate it. And
Yeah.
like I said, it brings a little bit different perspective into the conversation with, having somebody else in for sure.
Yeah. Cuts the time in half for it if you get a helping hand. So
Oh yeah.
it
Yeah. And
always
one hand
works out.
washes the other with it and
Yeah.
take care of each other.
Yeah. You're a big help with me for, helping me trim my stands and getting them checked out. So
Mm-hmm.
it's always a good idea to have a buddy with you when you're doing that, just in case. You never know when something's gonna happen. So
Right. Right. So yeah, no, it's going good. It's coming quick. I mean, we're what, week and a half from season right now, something like that.
October 1st. Today's the 21st. So yeah,
I think the first lands on a
within
Saturday.
2 weeks. Within 2 weeks for sure.
So, but anyway, where are you thinking you're sitting opening day? Are you waiting for weather? What's your strategy going into that first week?
I gotta say that the past couple years I've kind of changed that. I don't know if you want to call it maturing or being a little more knowledgeable about deer movement. Seems to me that the first 2 weeks of October, they're really warm. If you want to get out there on a field edge and not intrude so much on where, I guess, your primary target
Mm-hmm.
bucks, or where, a rut spot or anything like that would be, I would probably try and stay out of that the past couple of years. I used to just be all gung ho.
Yep.
I would just run right in there.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is where he is. This is where I'm going. So, but I think once the rut hits, you actually have a more optimal chance for that deer to be there in daylight instead of leaving scent and bumping them out of those areas when they do come in there and you're not there.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess going back to what you were saying is, I guess the first couple weeks I'm pretty lenient. I mean, if we get a cold snap or a nice frost that's gonna be coming in, I'll try to get out there that morning. But the first couple weeks, if I want to get out just to get the jitters off, I'll try and go sit a field edge or something and see what walks out or anything like that. And usually hunt evenings. I mean, I usually don't hunt mornings very early.
Yep.
Usually don't really start hunting mornings until probably the last week of October is when I really try to focus on mornings, because I just, I think I touched base on this in a couple on my comments before about bumping deer off of food walking in, and so I'll pretty much just hunting evenings and in the early first couple weeks, and then see if I can put some meat in the freezer with a nice doe and go from there.
Yeah.
What about you?
No, so first week, I'm looking like today specifically. I mean, we hit 82 today, I think, for a high, which is, a lot of people say that's way too warm. But what I'm going to look at is that drop going into, let's say, like tomorrow and the next day with this front pushing in. It doesn't matter about, necessarily what I look at is the frost. I'm just looking at the relative drop or the relative weather change. We got, supposedly 50-mile-per-hour winds and stuff coming in tonight. And that lays off, if it was season, tomorrow might be a day to look at, especially for that evening food, movement going into that, kind of dropping down into that front. I think that'd be what to key in on in the early season, and then hunting that late. Like you said, you don't want to burn out those good morning spots you got. I think a lot of guys make that mistake of getting in there way too early with it and kind of almost wrecking a spot before it even gets going into season for a lot of guys.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, touching on to a little bit about what you said with the wind. So I got I guess you could call it a little controversial opinion that I got.
No,
I was mowing lawn today, and I was thinking about this. And everyone, when you go set a stand, they talk about the prominent wind. Now, and anybody you talk to, at least in this area, I don't get out much in other states or anything like that. I just pretty much hunt the Finger Lakes.
Yep.
But they say that, you want to set your stand up for the prominent wind. Well, and from what I've seen the past few years that I've really been logging this in, we'll say the past 5 years, I've been trying to take into data and improve myself as a hunter and all that. The the prominent wind in bow season is south
Yep.
in my area. So, and then when people talk about a prominent wind, most guys, especially the old school guys, they'll say north, northwest,
Hmm.
somewhere in that area. So, and then when you get like a north or northwest wind, I would almost like to call that like an optimal wind.
Hmm. Right.
Because that means like you're gonna get a little cooler temperatures blown in. You're gonna get possibly, you're getting a front out of the north
Yep.
instead of a warmer wind from the south. So if your prominent wind is the south, you got to see where I'm going with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you set your stand up and you're saying that for prominent wind, well, look at it like, yeah, you may think it's to the northwest, but if you haven't really logged any data or paid much of attention, I mean, your prominent wind in your area, especially it is for me, I feel like it's out of the south.
Yeah. Definitely south southwest. I've seen a lot of that, especially off the backside of that front. Once you get that north northwest that pushes through, it kind of kicks it around the compass, so to speak, and then that backside of that front, you get a lot of west southwest.
Mm-hmm.
So I see that a lot with guys. Also having, let's just say a line of movement. I see it a lot on client parcels and pieces I hunt and stuff like that too. Is if you have one set for that south southwest on the one side, and then maybe that off south southeast on the other side of that movement, to be able to capitalize kind of on both. Depending on the wind you get off the backside of that front.
Right.
And being able to blow it out into areas like we talk about, like big open ag fields, or something like that, where you're not going to get like places that corn got chopped. I love blowing my wind out in areas where corn got chopped because there's nothing left behind. Not going to see many deer out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I think that's a great point to hit on. With that wind being out of the south, everybody wants that north northwest, from that front side, but
Everybody calls it that prominent wind. Well,
mm-hmm.
I don't really like that term. I kind of like it as an optimal
Yep.
wind to set up a stand. So your prominent wind, if you're a guy that really likes to get out there and you don't have the patience like most of us to sit back and wait for that perfect day to go out there and
Mm-hmm.
all the stars are aligning. When you're actually setting your stand for a prominent wind, a stand that you're going to hunt regularly, one that you can easily access and hop up into, try to maybe I would think maybe pay a little more attention to what the actual prominent wind is in your area.
Yep.
And then obviously the optimal wind, you need to have a stand set up for that, the north northwest, because that's usually what is involving those cooler temperatures to get them deer up and moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And then you get down into some of the Finger Lakes regions and get up along some of the lakes on some of the properties I've been on and stuff like that. You can run into where it's supposed to be a west, but because of the side of the lake that it's on, it blows east all the time. Like it doesn't matter what else it's doing, unless you have a really, really hard wind or something. It's blowing almost east right back up toward the sides of the valley. You get some really weird winds in some of those areas, or big steep pitches. You get different thermals and drops and stuff. But yeah, no, that's a really good point. Everybody says, like you said, predominant. Predominant just means that it's like 30% of the time or better. Well,
Right.
what do you do with the other 70%?
Right. So I don't know. It was over past 5 years. I've really been trying to gather data and improve my hunting.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that has been a little controversial thing because talking to the old school guys, like my grandfather who I hunted with, or some of my uncles, they always talk about set it up for the prominent wind because that's what you need to be. You got to have the wind in your face, or at least the wind coming across what
crossing
what you're
across
hunting.
setup.
Not
Yep.
You don't want it blowing past you into what you're hunting.
Yep.
But there's alternatives to that, like an open field.
Yep.
I would almost prefer if I'm set up on a wide open ag field, I want my scent blowing straight out into that field. I do not want it because the deer is not going to come from the wide open.
Nope.
So if you're in that stand and you're, the wind's in your face, like they say it's supposed to be, and it's blowing straight back into the woods, well, that's where the deer are. That's where they're bedded. That's where they're hanging out. So I would prefer it to actually just be blowing straight out into that field, and then that wind, once it's in that open area, I mean, once those deer come out and they start feeding, doing whatever, they're gonna once they hit your wind, it's gonna be very hard for them to pinpoint you in that wide open
Right.
space once they're out there, and that'll give you that opportunity to either make the shot or just let them do their thing and go on. But
Yeah, I like that. In that scenario you're kind of talking about, if you got the way that it lays out right, again, it's all property and land specific. I mean, anything we're saying is, but when you got it kind of blowing, I almost want it kind of blowing across my face, maybe down like a thin hedgerow line, where those deer probably aren't going to come from. They're going to come from that cover, that wood block. But definitely don't blow it back in the wood blocks. Like you said, your deer are smelling you before you even see them come out in the field.
I mean, I've also heard of guys actually like to hunt a crosswind.
Yep.
They'll actually have they'll be sitting on a wood line on the edge of a field, and they'll be looking out over the field, but the wind's actually hitting them to the right, blowing down the edge of the field, because if they know that property right, from what they say, the deer usually come out of this spot and they will actually come across you, and your wind's actually blowing behind you.
Yep. Kind of parallel in the way they're moving.
So
through.
Actually hunting a crosswind is another
way to look at those
open field, because I know a lot of guys like to hunt those field edges, and it's obvious because you can see so much. It's obviously a more fun hunt than being bound up inside the woods, and you're only seeing so far depending on how thick your timber is.
Yeah, and then when it's that warm early on, they're bedded pretty close to that food right now. You don't have a lot of get up and move,
Right.
So you might be, I like little bottlenecks behind like little wood blocks. There might be a smaller wood block behind it in some of these ag scenarios where you have, let's just say, a 5-acre wood block with a big ag field that still has crop in it, then maybe a little bottleneck that you can get into, and then maybe like a 1-acre like little swale lot, because I've seen those bucks bed in that like 1-acre little swale hole, and then you can catch them in between on that little pinch going back and forth. And again, once the deer are all out on that big ag, you could get off at night, no problem. So,
yeah, I mean, it's all, you all want to set up for just what you're hunting for. I mean, if you're hunting for the big buck or a specific deer and you got them somewhat figured out and you got a little history with them, obviously you're just trying to coordinate what you're doing in the field to kill a mature animal or that specific deer. But then you also have them guys that are just killers. I mean, they're just out there for the meat, man. They want to eat, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Completely respectable way of hunting.
Yep.
And
and we know a bunch of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give my buddy Jesse a shout out right now.
Yep.
I mean, he's a straight up killer.
Oh yeah.
You said it. You were the first one I heard you actually call him that.
Oh yeah.
And
dude can kill deer.
That guy kills deer. But I tell you what, he doesn't put a lot of focus into his scent control. He doesn't really put a little bit. He focuses on the wind and some stuff. But I mean, the guy just I don't know, he just has like a natural sense to him. He can go out there and he gets the job done. Yep. He's a killer, man.
Yeah, that old school hunter. He shoots fingers still.
Yeah,
no sight.
Yeah, he's a.
Oh yeah, man.
He's a whatever you call it, natural.
Yep.
Yeah, he's something else. He's a different breed.
No, he piles them up.
Yeah, every year.
Yep.
Every year his freezer's full, no question.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, and I think we still have to have obviously room in the hunting or whatever you want to call it for people like that. That kind of hunter's needed still. Absolutely.
I mean, it's obviously fun to sit here and talk about killing the big buck, because obviously even the meat hunters love killing big deer, but it might not be their primary focus.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Yep.
But you want to try and keep it open to everybody.
Oh yeah.
What they want to do.
Absolutely. No, legal, ethical, safe, whatever.
Yeah.
Have at it, man. And there's guys that get it done year in and year out all the time. Shoot, I think other than you tagged a lot of deer last year.
Yeah, I went a little crazy last year. I tagged out, but usually I don't. Usually probably go back to just the 2 or 3. I usually like to get a doe for my grandfather, because he only can get out hunting a couple times a year because he's old.
Yep.
He can't do it like he used to.
Yep.
Try and help him out. And then at least 2. 2 for my freezer. me personally, I like to try and get a couple bucks in there.
Yep.
But
Yeah. Oh yeah.
if the feeling's right, I got no problem in smacking a doe.
Yeah. No. No. Absolutely. But yeah, I think Jesse definitely. He was close. I think, like you said, this is the first year he shot more deer than Jesse did.
Yeah, yeah. Jesse, I think tags out about every year.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but
But yeah, no, it's absolutely. But yeah. Anyway, so that was a pretty good kind of start into the conversation and everything tonight.
yeah.
You
My
check
phone's
on the
dying, so
phone's dying.
yeah.
So
I'm
what
not
do
gonna be
we
able to read
got
any
on the
comments.
chat? Oh, Derek Tuttle tuning in from Idaho
Derek, what's up?
on the YouTube chat. He said, "Good evening, boys. Leaving on a archery 10-day public land solo elk hunt tomorrow in southeast Idaho on the border of Wyoming. It's the peak elk rut right now, and the mornings are in the 20s. It's gonna be good, dude."
Sounds like he's gonna have himself a fun time.
Yeah, he smoked some great animals. And again, it's funny to think about the first time he went hunting. Might not be 100% on this, but the first time I think he was hunting legally or whatnot, he was hunting with me, and that's when we found that big 174. We were squirrel hunting because he didn't really come from, he didn't have a whole lot of hunting background, and then he moves out west and kind of living the dream, working for Fish and Game Department, and
yeah,
I think he's killed, muleys, elk, whitetails. I mean, you name it, dude.
Yeah, I met Derek at your wedding, and it seems like he kind of lives out there in the bush.
Oh, dude,
he's ice fishing. He's doing it all. He just loves being out there.
Yep, and he can get his scouting done when he's out working for the Fish and Game. So that's
that's always a bonus when you're getting paid to scout.
Yeah,
that's always a bonus.
But no, that sounds like in the 20s, man. It makes me itch for late October going into November with that.
Yep.
But no, dude, I wish him the best of luck. I bet he's going to be probably off the grid if he's going down in that area. If he's going solo and back up in the bush.
Could be. I've never been out there.
No,
I don't know much about it, but
me and Hannah keep talking about going out there and visiting him and Kaylee out there. But no, it's a different world, dude. The pictures out there, it's definitely like something out of a magazine or a calendar, whatever you want to call it. It's gorgeous. I got to see it.
Derek, wish you luck, man.
Yeah.
Hope you're successful. I'm sure you will be.
Yeah, tag a big bull. I don't know if you get a cow tag or a, bull tag. I don't know what the zones are out there. I know it's all different stuff. But
speaking of cow tags, I got a couple cows walking through my farmer's beans on camera the other day.
Yep.
Yeah, they must have got out. The neighbor's cows got out of the fence and
yeah, no,
that's and flipping through pictures. It's like, whoa, what is he doing out there?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff for the freezer there. But no, and then yes, Derek says 20 in the morning and 70 during the day. Talk about a temperature swing. You must get some like wicked crazy thermal rises with that, and then it just probably just tails right off. I don't know.
Probably.
I mean, we get some extreme highs and lows, but not. I mean, 50-degree swing. That's huge. But higher elevation, so it makes a lot of sense. But
higher elevation, yeah.
Derek says hopefully he can come across a nice muley out there too. So yeah, he's got multiple tags in his pocket. Whatever he glasses.
Yeah, whatever looks good.
Yeah,
Derek's gonna let one fly.
Oh yeah, I love it, love it.
Living the life.
Yeah, nothing coming through on the Facebook. So yeah, this is always like live Q&A. We got some back and forth conversation tonight, which is obviously the first for this, the first official guest, so to speak. So I definitely enjoy it. Gives, like you said, different perspective, different twist, and I always like that, hearing other people's thoughts and how just applying, like you said, to everybody. It doesn't really matter, what I'm saying or you're saying. We just got to hit that one person that it fits for both, but or whatever with it. But yeah, no, I definitely enjoy. Hopefully, but you're a brand new dad, so it's been a little bit of a struggle.
yeah. He's gonna be a whole month old Saturday, so looking forward to. Wow, I'm having fun with everything that's going on now, but I'm really looking forward to spending time camping and hunting with him and fishing and all that. So
yeah, the grip and grins with the baby.
Yeah. But it's been fun. It's been a fun learning curve there with him.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, that's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, shoot, Derek's just walking in with a pocket full of tags. Wolf, beer. I'm assuming he meant bear. Lion tag in his pocket. Dude, he could.
Maybe some beer, he says.
Yeah, some beer.
Got to keep sane out there.
Well, yeah,
Derek. I mean,
yeah,
at least 2-3 beers a day to keep the
yeah.
blood flowing.
10-day public land hunt. You know, that's way out there. Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. And then he says congrats on the baby too. So
thanks, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, but no, that's awesome. So yeah, everybody's got different stuff going on, and I love hearing what other folks got going on. And obviously everything with little Owen. I mean, shoot, we were cleaning out your shed last night, getting it ready for deer season, the skinning shed and stuff like that. So
yeah,
getting that all cleaned out, ready to go. So yeah, I mean, other than I think I'm still a little woozy from the bleach.
yeah, we hit it a little hard with the bleach, but that's all right.
Yeah,
it needed it.
Yep,
it needed it.
Yep. No, it's nice to have a place where we can, have the bragging board or whatever on the fridge and hang out. Talk about the hunt, share the stories with everybody.
Yep.
And then sit down with a couple extra hands to start. Basically, making light work of the deer too.
Yeah,
it's a lot easier when you got a couple guys cutting them up.
Many hands make light work.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah, that was a idea I had a little while back. I bought this 12 by 24 just yard shed, and don't have a garage. But I wanted some place where I could hang my deer and I could cut my own deer up. And obviously I wanted to share my hunts, and obviously my buddies are always welcome to hang their kills and stuff in there. And so I kind of set it up, just for that. I mean, I got the kegerator hooked up in there so we can have some beers. I got a TV out there so we get the football game going while we're cutting up the deer or skinning it.
Tunes going if you need tunes.
Yeah, there's always YouTube on there on the Roku. Yeah, it's been fun. I've had a lot of fun with friends coming over and just hanging out, and then opening morning a gun. Usually we get out of the stand around 11:30, somewhere around there. And past couple of years, 3-4 of us have met up there and grabbed a quick breakfast before we head back out, grab a little bite to eat, talk about our morning hunts, and grab a cup of coffee and then head back out. So that's always fun.
Yeah,
a little camaraderie in between hunts.
Oh yeah, and it's central for a lot of us with kind of where we hunt.
We all hunt pretty close to each other.
Yep.
See the movement.
Yeah. Derek says he starts talking to squirrels and shit. It's nice to reset. No, I call it that tree stand therapy. That I start really needing in October and stuff like that. It's tractor therapy in the summer, but it's nothing like getting out there in the woods and being part of it back again. So, no, I'm itching, man. Really itching. Shot yesterday, and I ended up shooting my bow a little bit today again too. So, a couple arrows a day just to keep everything sharp, and yeah. Got you your target back finally, your turkey one. So you got a plethora over there.
Yeah, I went a little wild on the 3D targets last year.
That's all right. Turkey season's open during part of bow season too.
Yeah,
and you got a few. Close. And you got a few.
I came close last year to getting one, but he picked me off.
Yeah, they're just nerd balls with feathers
in the stand.
Oh yeah. It's never easy with turkeys. So, but yeah. No, same piece that we got your Tom this past year. So yeah, that was a good piece, good turkey piece for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually went and pulled some cameras earlier before I came over here, and there's a couple nice ones hanging around those spots. I got pictures of them. The beards hanging.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Got some hens with some nice little pullets behind them. So
that's good to see. It's something not a lot of people are seeing.
Not a lot of them. There's only there's one hen that had 2 and another one had 4. So I don't know.
Yeah, we got a lot of fox, coyote, fishers too. I mean, I got a lot of fisher pictures. My last card pull on a couple different properties that I hunt. So
yeah,
I'm sure they're doing a number, especially on the young ones. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always fun pulling cards. You never know what you're gonna get on them trail cams.
No, like you said, you got cows.
I got cows. I got a fisher. I got a couple coyotes, fox. I actually got a pretty cool picture. It's this I don't know, I think he's 2.5-year-old 8 point.
Yep.
And he's sitting there hitting the mock scrape, sitting there sniffing it and butting it with his nose. There's a raccoon about, I don't know, 12 foot up the tree, just kind of curled around it, just staring at him. And then at one point, I actually caught a picture of the deer staring at him, and the raccoon staring down at him. And that was pretty cool. That one made me laugh.
Yeah, actually, speaking of that, made me think about it. I got a buck that I'm calling Bard, just because when I got a picture of him, I didn't have a name for him. It, like you said, probably 2.5-year-old, something like that. That had a somewhat distinguishable rack, and I called him Bard because one of the pictures I got of him, there's a barred owl in the tree behind him for the picture.
Yeah.
So, and then like you said, they were looking at each other and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I named that buck and stuff like that. But
maybe I should name him Cooney Buck.
Yeah, coon.
Rat.
A rack.
Rat buck.
Rack 'em. No, there's a bunch of different. That's how it is. I mean, with some of the names, it's this year we talked about it. This year, the names of the bucks that I got, up and comers for future seasons, or the new guy on the block that shows up has kind of been the Phelps Bar Bucks. We got Crafty and all those ones, and Dono for down at the wine bar, and Smokey for smoking tails. I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Last year I went with the Looney Tunes theme, Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, stuff like that. Yeah. But
it's always fun to name them.
Yep.
It's kind of hard for me to name them with the properties I hunt because I'm not really sure how much of actual return animals I get.
Right.
I guess maybe it's just me being, I guess, not as knowledgeable about trying to match them up from year to year, or if there's just that much turnover where I hunt. I'm really not sure, but most of the time, if the deer has a distinct feature about them,
yep,
I'll definitely have a name for them. But for the most part, if they're a nice 8, it's a nice 8. Or,
yep. Oh yeah, that's all 10 or whatever.
Yeah, it's just simple stuff for me.
Yep.
Unless they got a distinct feature, but
yeah. No, absolutely.
It's almost easier to name the little guys before they get big because they actually do look a little different from each other.
Yeah, until they all turn into that 8-pointer.
You get them, 3.5-year-old 8 points. It's like
you got one.
They all look about the same, really. I mean, it's all roughly the same gene pool. It seems like, but I don't know.
Yeah, and that's how I got Curly, Larry, and Mo a couple years ago. They were all 3 8 points, and it was just like, I don't know, Curly, Larry, Mo. Yeah. I don't know, Three Stooges.
Then the following year, you had a little mishap because you named him. Well, it was Mo. You were calling him Larry.
Oh yeah, Curly.
But it was actually Curly. You figured it out through some sheds and stuff you found. They're like, wow, that wasn't the buck that I thought he was. It's actually this one.
Yep.
Because of some feature on the antler.
Yeah, the pedicles on the bases of the sheds. Yep.
Yep. And you're like, oh man, that's Mo. That's not Larry.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought it was Larry, but it's really Curly.
It's tough. It's fun to try and figure it out.
Yeah, and I mean, I probably take it a lot further than most guys. I mean, you've seen my mad scientist.
You take a lot of things a lot further than most guys. Yeah. You got a whole board and files on your computer, which I mean, is all good. I mean, all more power to you. It's awesome.
Yep. Yeah. No, I got that big 8x5 whiteboard that kind of see. It's not in the frame, but. Yeah, I started plugging on my 1-year data stuff, my 1-year rule stuff. And
well, you showed the small one you had before you got the big board.
Yeah. No, the big board's just supersized. And can fit a couple more, bucks on it, different properties, different parcels, stuff like that. And, start putting the data together. Because like I said, I started really looking at it. And last 4 out of 5 I've killed on that 1-year rule. Hunting them specifically. And had those encounters with hacksaw last year. So...
Hey, Kels.
Yep.
Kels is watching. What's up, Kels?
Oh, yeah, texting in.
Yeah, she gave us a like. That was
there we go. There we go. But yeah. No. Oh, and then the wife commented 7 minutes ago. We got off on our little tangent on trail cams and deer. So what are some deer shed essentials? Crafty Ales and Loggers in Phelps, New York. In the kegerator.
Deer shed essentials. Are you talking about shed hunting, or are you talking about my deer shed?
I think Nate's deer shed, probably from where the conversation was.
Deer hanging and beer. That's usually about it.
Yeah. Yeah, like I
Yeah.
said, that crafty ales and
and
lagers. Free plug for Mike.
and good times, good times with friends.
Yeah.
Basically, is
No.
what it's set up.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Take the pictures, have them on the fridge. That's always we cover that fridge every year with everybody. Doesn't matter what you're harvesting either. Like you said, bucks, does, doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Everything makes the fridge.
I got to give my wife kudos because it's something I wanted to do out there. Part of the deer shed was when whether it's a doe or any kill, it could be a sweet fish someone caught that they're excited about. Go to Walmart, print it off for what is it, 23 cents a picture or something, and bring it over. And my wife actually made these little clothesline clips, and she hot glued little magnets to the back of them, and they're all over the front of the refrigerator. And buddies just show up and they bragging board, got one for the bragging board. They pop the picture up, and it's there until I don't know, usually around this time of year, August, September. I take them all down and then I staple them on the wall of the shed.
Yeah, in between all the panels.
And then so the fridge is open for the upcoming deer season. So
yeah, a lot of memories looking at the wall. I mean, go back over probably 10 years before I knew you.
Yeah, a lot of pictures of people I don't even really see anymore.
Yeah,
I got some good memories just sitting there looking at them.
Yeah, no, absolutely, love it.
Got some pictures of me catching bass out on Black Lake in high school with my long hair, and I had the hair flick, and I thought I was cool and everything.
Yeah, no, I had that long hair too.
Yeah.
That Bieber cut or whatever. Before Justin Bieber had it.
Yeah, we were the OGs. He copied us.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. But Derek says he's doing some saddle hunting this year over some wallows. Those are the water holes up in the hills. Pinned on Onyx. Haven't been able to spot in 6 years. Hasn't been to the spot in 6 years, so it'll be interesting to see how it's changed.
I got a question for Derek. So this whole saddle thing, I'm not sold on it because I hunt a couple private pieces, and I go in and I scout the land and I hunt it. And if I need to make an adjustment for a following year, I do. I go and I set a stand for multiple scenarios, or however the terrain is and all that. And I just set it up and I try hunting it to the best of my knowledge. So this whole saddle thing, now it's kind of, from what I understand, it's kind of like trying to be mobile. Which, being mobile, I feel like has its perks, especially if you're going and doing what Derek's doing, just kind of on a whim, just going out there and trying to get it done. But what's the advantage to a saddle versus a stick and lock-on setup?
Right. I think a lot of it is, from what I've read on them, again, like I said, mostly hunting private pieces, don't hunt a lot of state land. I think the benefit to it is maybe the quietness, the lack of weight. I mean, if you're going way back on a big piece of public,
it's just ropes.
It's a tether It's basically a harness,
right?
And then you tether it in. You got a set of sticks usually to go up, and then maybe your platform or whatever that you stand on,
right?
But I think a lot of it is, the versatility of it. Like they can get into any spot or scenario. You can scout till you find sign, sit on sign. I think it's a really good fit. I know a lot of guys too that do the saddle hunting thing that literally take their saddles out in August, prep specific trees, leave their sticks in the tree, and then all they do is they go up with their harness on their platform, and then they just set up in it for the hunt. So I know there's guys that do it that way too. So they almost use it kind of like, instead of buying 10 hang-on stands, they use it as their hang-on in each spot, but just buy the sticks.
Right.
So I know there's guys that do it that way too. But yeah, I think a big thing is if you're going way back, or if you got scouted, pre-cut out spots, it would be really helpful. I just got so much money invested in tree stands that I don't want to invest in a saddle too on top of it.
Well, it's a different scenario. I mean, like Derek's going out, and he's sitting there saying, like right there, he's going out on basically public, and he's going to be hiking 5 to 10 miles trying to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, where you and me, I mean, we might have to walk
half mile max, maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say half quarter mile. If that, but your family owns a property that you hunt, so you spent years on there trying to get that to how you want it, and it's a little different for me. versus, I hunt permission pieces.
Yep.
So anything you want to do, you basically have to run by the landowner,
Yep.
the farmer.
Yep.
And then guys like Derek on the other end of the spectrum, going out hunting public, he says they're hanging a stand on public land is fair. It's fair game, basically. LOL.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're risking that, but you're also risking that on hanging it on private land, depending on how your neighbors are and how tight things are. But obviously on public land, just leaving a ladder stand out there probably isn't a good idea.
Right.
But going out there, hanging a lock on, and then hiking up with your sticks, then pulling your sticks down when you leave, that will probably at least keep the honest people honest, I would think.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. So, no, and I've heard stories from, other guys I know that hunt state land that they've had stands stolen, they've had their stands ripped out of the trees and put in a pile at the bottom of the tree, a whole bunch of different stuff, the list goes on and on. Biggest thing I would say is, like I say, on public ground, if you come onto a stand, I think it's almost fair game to sit in it. If somebody's got it and you find a good spot on public, and there's a stand there, it's hung legally and whatnot, I say it's fair game to hunt it, but don't screw with somebody's stand, dude. It's not worth it to have somebody fall out of a tree or, have an issue like that.
Yeah. Because we all have come across that at some point, especially even if you're, in my situation, a guy and the previous landowner had a tiff, and the guy that was hunting it isn't allowed to hunt there anymore, and I was able to gain access to it. Instead of going out there and you're like, oh man, this looking on the map, you're like, this spot looks like it'd be sweet to hang a stand. You go on there and that guy had a stand there. Just pull it down and set it by the road, or if you know where the guy lives, just set it at the end of his driveway. And then put your setup there. Or contact him. Leave him a letter in his mailbox saying, hey man, I know things went south or whatever, but I know your stand's there. I can pull it down and set it up by this hedgerow if you want to come get your equipment.
Right.
And just trying to keep on good terms with everybody.
As decent as you can about shit.
But
Absolutely.
we all know how deer season can turn people's attitudes towards everything.
Oh yeah. No doubt. No. Deer make people do crazy things for sure. But as long as you're, respectful, of property lines and other hunters and stuff like that, do the best you can to do that. Like you said, there's always going to be those couple people that make it difficult in some way, but
that's with anything, I guess.
Yeah, it always is. But no, I see the appeal of the saddle, but again, I'm not going mobile on 5 acres.
Yeah. Because I considered, while we actually talked about it there about a year ago, actually just going down to Ohio and renting a camp for a long week or a long weekend. And what was going to be our approach to hunting it? Are you going to bring a stand? You're going to go in there, find a spot, set it up, and then when you leave, you tear it down and Or like me, I like my climber. I know it's a little clunky, it's a little bulky. And then it is a little heavy. Like Derek climbing in 5 to 10 miles.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be hugging.
I don't know if I want to be hauling my climber in that far.
Right.
But I could see the saddle, with the ropes and everything, how it would just be a lighter setup to pack in. Yeah,
I never weighed my setup, but I did that a couple times, hang and hunt setups on my piece. Actually was real successful. I did like 3 or 4 sets. I actually killed a coyote out of the one, and then the other one I killed a doe out of. But that was because I had set a stand that I had established the night before, had a bunch of does go through this little cut. And I was like, I think I can get in that walnut tree. So I went in there with my sticks and it's a lone wolf climber, but I use it as my hang on because it's super light, it's aluminum. And so I did that, and I went in there on a hanging hunt or whatever. So, I think it can be successful, especially like you said, if you're on public, something like that, first time on a piece of property, maybe, didn't have time, maybe you got permission on it right now going into season. Maybe that's where you saddle would be the fit, or a hanging hunt setup to be able to see what the latest movement is without any, previous year's info on it. I think that could be a good fit. But
yeah, Derek there, he agrees with it. He said, he said that he sat in other people's. He says stands are free game on public land. He goes,
Hmm.
but if someone comes up to you and says, hey, that's my stand, respectfully get out of it.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and argue with the guy.
No, absolutely.
It's never good to get in arguments when there's weapons in each other's hands.
Yeah, it turns into a real he said, she said, and that's not where you want to be in those situations.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, no, that's all great conversation piece with it. Because again, I enjoy hunting. What I've hunted. I work really hard at it in the off seasons, and again, I got you know. Other than my main family property, I got a couple other pieces. I got a lease piece and stuff like that I hunt, and those are kind of the pieces that take up my time. It's not saying that I don't want to hunt public, but put so much time and effort and money into those pieces that it's hard for me to step away from it to go hunt public.
Well, that's part of it. I mean,
Mhm.
you put the work in, and you want to be, you want to be successful. You want to
Have the fruits of the labor,
yeah,
man.
fruits of the labor. There you go. Exactly.
Yep. So that's where it gets hard for me, and that's where we bounced around the idea. And that was before you had a kid, and all that stuff. We're talking Ohio, but there's still some.
There's time. There's plenty of time. We go do it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
May not be this year. May not be next year, but
I can see it at some point. Yeah.
Time. Bring
Well,
along with us.
And Derek was saying, he's got to get me out to Idaho. He's been really getting after me past couple years to get out there to, take him up on some of this, late September time hunting out there because he said a lot of stuff you can get over the counter. So maybe that's in my future in the next year or two. People got to stop having all these darn weddings. I got another wedding this weekend and then one, going into that first weekend in October to go to. So
yeah, apparently we're in that age group. That whole
everybody's getting married.
25 to 32, everyone's getting married.
Yep. Yeah. So, but yeah, so like I said, I got a bunch of weddings coming up, which is makes it a little tricky to get stuff done. But luckily, my wife's good and your wife's good with letting us get out there and be able to get our stuff done and hunt. And
yeah, I gotta say
she let me borrow you tonight for this.
Yeah, my wife supports my hunting 100%. She actually goes out and does it with me from time to time. Her big hobbies are some elsewhere. She's big into the rodeo, roping, and horseback and all that, which is great. It's cool.
Yep.
But yeah, she definitely supports and goes hunting with me, and she don't mind me putting dead animals in the house or taxidermy in the house.
Yeah.
And then hanging a deer in the shed and everything, and she's all about it. Honestly, I don't know what everybody thinks about this, but my wife can gut a deer faster than me.
I know, I saw it. I saw it firsthand last year with that doe she took at the farm. Yep.
Yeah, she gets in there with her, I call her little raccoon hands because that's what she reminds me of when she's sitting there working with. But anyways, she gets in there. Oh yeah, it's clean, mint. No, she slices that thing right up. She's definitely better at gutting deer than me.
Yep. Yeah. No, she took that big doe over at the farm this past year. The same night I shot mine with a pistol.
Yep.
Yep.
I think she offered to gut yours too.
I know she did.
She loves it. She likes to do the autopsy of the trauma.
Yep.
Oh man, you hit the heart. Or,
too many of those serial killer shows.
Shit, don't get me into that. That's a whole other subject about.
But yeah, no, it's like I said, that's definitely something where it's it's great. Like I said, to be able to share it with people. Like I said, you're not big on a lot of people coming out with you, and hunting's kind of a solitary thing. But I like coming together, like the campfire story part of it. The skin and shed, that kind of stuff. When you're out there, I like to have my time to me.
Yeah. I enjoy a buddy hunt. I would prefer it with a gun. Bow hunting, buddy hunts, unless you guys have permission on the same piece or whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But bow hunting, I feel like, is the solitude time. And then gun hunting, you can get into a little more camaraderie. You can do a little more. You can get together, and if you're tired of sitting in the stand, and you can go to a piece of public or drive down the road to a farm and just ask them, hey, do you mind if we try bumping out a couple of these hedgerows and see what happens? Because I know a lot of people don't drive deer anymore, but I mean, I have some of the most fun I've had hunting has actually been doing little 4-man
Little
drives. My
pushes. Yep.
grandfather, my dad,
Hmm.
'cause that's how they always did it
Right.
when I was younger. But
Right.
it's hard to do that now. A lot of people kind of frown on the driving thing, but you get away with it and you get out there and get some exercise in, and you never know what's going to come out.
Yeah. No, actually, I think I need another beer, and then I think we should talk about your 1 day permission story from last year. That was
That was pretty solid. We
that
can do
was
that.
that was that's a good story to lead into with that permission thing,
I'll get you a beer.
because no, I definitely bartender Nate.
That was
Thank you.
yeah, that actually all stemmed from I got the permission from my wife, a friend of my wife.
Yep. Yep.
Speaking of her supporting my hunting.
Yep.
So so what happened is around the corner from her parents' house, the farmer picked a lot of the corn, but he left this solid, a big chunk of it, at least I don't know, quarter half acre of it, just in the middle of the field, but had all the perimeter cut. And I drove by it for probably a week, going back and forth to work or her parents' house, whatever. I'm looking, I'm like, man. And this is the late season hunt, by the way. This is
the holiday season.
Yeah, this was I believe it was the
Christmas?
December 26th to January 1st.
Yeah, it was day after Christmas, right?
The day after Christmas is when you and me went out.
Yep.
So the day after Christmas, we go out for an evening hunt. I asked my wife if she could get a hold of the landowner and see if it'd be all right if I went out there with a buddy and we just sat out
some
back.
does, really.
Yeah,
another freezer or whatever,
anything
to come out.
Something fun.
Yep.
And I always wanted to kill a nice buck with my muzzleloader. It was really high on my priority list, or really wanted to do it. But anyways, so we go out there and there's a couple fields way off the road, and we could access them a little shorter from the opposite road. So, and there's properties. We pull up the laneway, and this one field that Eliza and her father bow hunt. Usually a pile of does come from the west out to the east to feed out in that cut bean field.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been a cornfield that year. I don't remember. But so I told Ben, I said, well, set somewhere up here in this hedgerow, and them deer should funnel out right in front of you within 200 yards within, roughly. And if you feel up to it, take what you want.
Yep.
I said, what is what it is. I said, I'm going to go on the opposite side of this hedgerow, and I'm going to go hunt over that, around the perimeter of that standing corn. So we got all set up, and Ben was having some action.
Oh, dude, so many does. It was just they were all over 200 yards out.
I didn't see nothing.
So many does.
I saw
a couple
some
small
turkeys.
bucks.
I saw some turkeys.
Yep.
But yeah, they piled out just like I was explaining earlier, and Ben was heening and hawing about a shot. I guess they were out there probably pushing.
It was a good poke. It was a good poke. It was at least 2.
And it was getting down to the last, 10 minutes of shooting time, shooting light. And it was getting pretty dark, and I haven't seen anything besides a couple hen turkeys pecking around out in the field, out there a couple 100 yards. And I was like, eh. All right, so I text Ben. I'm like, what do you think? He goes, I don't really know if I'm going to pull the trigger on any of these. We're kind of he and hawing back and forth. So I was like, well, screw it. I'll just start packing up my stuff. So I packed up my bag and everything, and I took about 2 steps out from the field edge into that corn, and I was like, you got to glance around. You never know. Before you leave, you got to give her one last look.
Yep, and you had a little bit of corn right in front of you still.
Yeah. There was some little stalks and stuff standing there, and I look over, and it's about 150 yards away from what I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like ears of corn.
Yep.
Because it was getting to that twilight hour. Like we're talking like literally,
which again, 2 years ago,
10 to 5 minutes before shooting light.
Which 2-3 years ago, before we had the extra half hour, you'd been done.
We'd have been done. We'd have been out of there. So, all right, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, why do the ears on that corn stalk look like they're curving up?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it just looks
Corn's
weird. And I'm really trying to focus on it. So I get down and I get my shooting stick out, and I balance my gun. I get the scope on it, and I'm looking at it, and I can't really see it because the deer, he was looking straight at me, and that corn stalk was dead center, so I couldn't see his head. I could still scan, and then he turned.
Yep.
He turned to his right, and I was like, "Oh man, that's a nice buck."
Yep.
So I'm frantically getting my stuff back out, getting set down on my knees. 150-yard shots, pretty good poke.
Yep.
With the muzzle loader. So I'm getting all set up. And I don't know. I checked the time and everything, and I had to have been within 2 or 3 minutes of
you were 5 minutes in the clear, because I was all packed up. I had all my stuff packed up. I had my backpack, and I looked in the field one more time because I was gonna go out the backside of that little wood block that I was sitting up on.
Yeah, we were gonna meet up
kind of on the point and then go up to the truck. Yep. So I was all packed up, and I literally was on my knees when you went kaboom. I looked at my phone. I'm like, well, you had 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
I know.
It was close. It was close.
No, you were good.
So I got down there, and I could tell it's a nice buck, and I put it right behind his shoulder, and I touched it off, and of course the smoke and everything, and there must have been a couple other deer out in the field that I didn't see, and I thought I saw him bound off to the north.
Yep.
So I called Ben. I'm like, man, I said, I just shot at a nice one. So he comes up, meets up with me, which it felt like he took forever to get there because I'm all amped up.
Mm-hmm.
So we get there, and we're out there looking for blood. Like, he was right here. And
half hour, 45 minutes.
Oh yeah, we were out there walking half hour, 45 minutes, and we go to walk out. I'm like, I'll just come back in the morning, man. I said, things are getting dark. It's kind of getting tough to tell, judge where he was from where, I knew where I was sitting, but where he was from where I was sitting in that light.
Yep.
And as we're walking out, Ben goes, we didn't walk along that wood line.
Yeah, the south edge of the field.
He goes, why don't we walk along that wood line and you just hang out in the field a little bit? And we'll just walk parallel with each other, see if we cross anything before we leave. And sure enough, we got set up. Ben's walking the wood line. I'm out in the field, and I think we were probably 15, 20 steps into walking back to where we thought I shot him.
Yep.
And I just walk upon this pool of blood. And tracked it right in. Ben actually has a video and everything of it. But tracked it right in. And actually, when we were searching for him and we couldn't find any blood, I walked within...
Oh, we were within
30 feet of that deer.
Easy 10 yards of that deer. Easy.
And...
But he was never just kind of in there. That little clump of beech, and we couldn't see him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I didn't see any blood. And he he only went 50, 60 yards, piled up.
No, he was right there.
That was cool. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, and again, like you were talking about maybe coming back tomorrow to look. Couldn't believe you didn't stick them. Everything like that. And that's the thing that I tell people a lot of the time is even if you can't find it, and like you said, you thought he went north, in that
that's
situation,
where we focused, because I thought that's where he ran, but I didn't see that other deer out there because I was so focused on him. I saw another deer.
Yep.
When I shot him, he actually went straight back from where...
Yeah, you went straight into the woods, pretty much.
I hit him, and he turned around and went straight back.
Yep. So that's a good tip for people, too, is, back circling even, because I've seen them do that, too, where they go 10 yards and then they'll cut back to almost, like you said, probably that trail he came out on. You didn't see him come out on it, but I bet he went right back in that trail he went out, came in on. So, yeah, just don't give up on it. I mean...
Yeah, that was a one-day permission. The guy said, yeah, they can go out there today. No one's supposed to be out there today.
Yep. Yeah, season's over. They're done gun hunting.
Yeah. And it happened.
Yep.
It happened. He was a beautiful 8-point. I think he went 126.
Yeah, no.
126 in the northeast big buck.
Yep, great spread.
He was pushing 22-inch spread, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like 21,
5'8",
6'8", something like that. Yeah, no, real good, solid, wide frame. Looks good in your living room.
He looks
really good.
He does. He looks great in there.
Perez did a great job on that, like always.
Got to give Perez a shout out.
Yep.
Nice guy.
Yep, absolutely. Great work, everything like that. So, yeah, all your stuff's back. Dave's stuff, your stuff, both your bucks from this past year.
We had a great year last year.
Mm-hmm.
Opening day at gun. Dave shot a beautiful 8-point.
His biggest, right, or second biggest?
If he's watching this, I don't want to but I'm pretty sure it's his biggest. I'm
Yep.
pretty sure it's his biggest he's ever shot in New York. 'Cause he used to do a lot of hunting in Long Island.
Yeah,
Was-
upstate, biggest upstate
Yeah,
buck.
biggest upstate buck. And I got my biggest bow buck,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my first muzzleloader buck
Mm-hmm.
this year. It was a great year for our family.
Yeah.
And Eliza. Well, Eliza got her first deer in probably 3-4 years. You were generous enough to let us out on your piece, and
Yep. Yeah, the one that she speed gutted in front of everybody.
Yeah, embarrassed all the guys there gutting deer. I knew she was going to do it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm all for it. But yeah, no, dude, I love it. Like I said, this is what the deer shed is. It's just talking stories like this, talking, reliving it with everybody, and and loving it.
Yep.
So, but Derek's the big commenter of the night. He says he's got a plane ticket for you whenever you decide.
For who?
Me.
There you go.
I told you he's been always bugging me. Told me
Does
he's
it
doing
say for me, Derek?
Yeah.
I got another month off. Let's go. I'm going on that 10 days.
He's on baby leave.
I'm
right
on
now.
baby leave. Wife's gonna hate me, but it might be worth it.
That might be a good plan. Yeah, Hannah would probably kill me if we have a baby and then I leave.
Yeah, that's probably not a good idea. It sounds good.
maybe at the tail end.
It sounds
plan
good.
it out, tail end of. Yeah. Yeah. No, maybe we'll just.
Nah, once you see that little baby, you'll be just like me. You really won't want to spend too much time away from him.
Yep.
It's something else.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And then speaking of wife, Kaylee shot her first doe last year, and then gonna try to get her on an elk in late October. That's Derek's wife, Kaylee.
Congratulations, Kaylee.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, everybody's shooting their does last year.
Stack them up.
Fill the freezers.
Oh yeah. If your freezer's full, donate them.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, look at this. So Liza must have been tuning in.
Liza's tuning in and watching. Oh, good. Good thing I was talking good about her.
Yep. Yeah. So she must have been talking about the gut job. That was like 12 minutes ago that comment came in. So unless I got the wrong hole.
Whole raccoon
I forgot about that wrong hole thing.
I didn't know if we wanted. I remembered. I didn't know if we wanted to bring that up.
That was at the end. That was the butt out. She wanted to try the butt out.
She never used the butt out before, and she tried button out, not the butt.
Yep. We'll just put it that way.
And she was yanking pretty hard, but then she figured it out.
Yep.
She found the butt.
Yep. Then Bill Harvey says, "Old raccoon hands, huh?"
Yeah, the old raccoon hands. She does, man. You ever watch my wife work on anything? She does. She's like a raccoon. She's right in there, right involved. She don't hold back at all.
Nope. No hesitation with it.
We call it curious hands, or
whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. I don't know.
But no, it's definitely a good time with all the memories. Like I said, we can laugh about them now, and shoot, we'll be laughing about them years to come.
For sure.
Literally. So let's see what we got over on the bullhorn. I don't know if anybody's tuning in. Holy smokes, look at all this. Bullhorn. All right, on the bullhorn, Dallas, that's Billy's cousin, says hunted the Frank Church in Idaho wild place. And a lot of people out there hunting that Idaho area. I've heard them talk about that Frank Church area. I think for elk specifically.
I don't know much about it.
I don't either.
Derek,
what's Frank Church?
Derek, hook us up with Frank Church. What's going on? Or Dallas, if you're still here.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Yep. And then Billy says, "I'll show you the big ones." He's just going back and forth with Dallas on it. Ed Land says, "Deer, beer, and whiskey." Yeah, that's the name of the game tonight.
Hell yeah! Well, Ben's the whiskey drinker. I mean, I'll partake occasionally. I'm more of a beer drinker.
Yeah, that's the bird dog.
Yeah.
It's the happy medium.
Yeah.
Yep. Reminds me of college. That's where I got turned down to the bird dog.
He toned it down for me tonight, which was nice of him.
No, that's all good. And Billy Harvey says saddle up. So I assume Billy's running a saddle in some instances.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah, no.
Hey, they come out with all these new things. What the hell? Why not try them?
Yeah.
See if they work. See if you like them.
Yeah. So all the new stuff going out. One of the things that I recommend to people, and it's just sitting here, because I like to do this. I like to scatter a bunch of random things around during my shows just so I can talk about stuff. This guy.
Yeah, you taught me that one. That was a great tip.
This is one of the best keep your stuff quiet things you can do. I put this on tree stands around the joints and stuff like that with the pins. wrap it up with a little bit of black electric tape. You said you used duct tape the other day in a pinch, but
Yeah, yeah.
for
Well,
like
any tape will work just to
yeah,
try and keep it from moving around when you're climbing.
yeah, knock that noise down. I put it around zippers on bags so they don't jingle or rattle.
Mainly for a ladder stand.
Yeah, mainly for a ladder stand on those joints. And for like a buck, I mean, you can take some pretty cheap stands and make them pretty quiet,
Mhm.
by tightening them up a little bit with just a little bit of electric tape. So there's your $1 tip for this evening is get yourself a roll of electric tape and tape your stands up a little bit.
Yeah. And it's not that hard, but if you do have to take the stand down or anything, just bring a knife, cut it, pull it off.
Yep. Yeah, and usually I get, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years out of it with
Mhm.
electric tape from what I've seen. After that, you just tone it back up. Usually I got a roll or two in uh my harness vest that I got available. So if stuff's getting old or maybe I forgot to do one or didn't have it when we were checking stands, I can
Mhm.
strap it up.
It does seem like though a lot of ladder stands, muddy, big game. I mean, it just seems like the bottom rail has those pins anymore, those little cotter pin things,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest is just a bolt with a lock nut.
Yep.
So it kind of seems like everything's kind of changing over to a bolt and lock nut, which is, in my opinion, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass
To
when,
put them
to
together
put
and
them together because you almost got to assemble them in the field.
yep.
You got to bring your drill and everything. It's not that much extra in the field, but
Right.
I guess it depends on your situation.
Yep. Yeah. So no, I definitely like it with all that stuff. But no, like I said, it's a must for those old pin stands. Like I said, most of them are going to be nut and bolt set up and all that stuff now. So, uh, but no, it's still a good one because I got a pile of them. Actually, I got to get them up on Facebook to probably this is the prime week to get them sold. A lot of guys are a little bit behind the eight ball. That pile of stands I got sitting up behind the garage.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got to get those sold. So
What do you
I
got
may.
left? Maybe I'll buy one.
Well, I got those 3 doubles and then those 2 18-footers. So
You still got them all?
I still got them all. That
Well,
guy bailed on
how
buying
much
all
for
of them.
that 18-footer?
We'll make a deal.
What?
I'll do you a good deal.
Well,
I'll give you a very, very good price.
All right, you're gonna cut into my lawn mowing money.
Well, that's next week, right? We're not mowing this week. Next week.
Wait, you helped me clean out my sheds. That means I owe you more.
You don't owe me anything
Oh, all right.
for that. That was free labor last night.
Oh, all right. Well, I appreciate it.
Yep. So Derek says I did a bunch of Mountain Lake surveys in Frank Church. See, he knows. He's right
Derek,
there. He's right
Frank
there. He's the
Church,
Idaho
what's up?
Idaho hookup. It's one of the biggest roadless areas in the country. There's only a handful of places you can fly into. Wow.
So you fly into it.
Yeah. That's kind of
pretty
impressive.
sweet.
Derek says he likes using the athletic tape.
Yeah.
Interesting. Never tried the
Any
athletic
kind
tape.
of tape, honestly, would work.
Yeah.
Besides scotch, I wouldn't use scotch tape. But
Yeah, I'm not going to use scotch tape or something like that. But
athletic tape, yeah, it's actually got that.
Mm-hmm.
It's softer. I mean, a lot of people use athletic tape on their bow grips, don't they?
Yeah, I got
Kind of forms to their
what
hand
did
a little bit.
what did Jake put on that bow before for that grip? I think it was like a tennis wrap or something, tennis wrap tape.
Yeah.
Or something he put on it. And it's comfortable
Yeah.
because I like
see how that
a
would work.
beefier grip on my bow. Some guys like a thinner grip, but I like an actual beefy grip because all the bows I grew up shooting and started shooting had a bigger grip. It was before everybody started to get real streamlined, so that's what just feels comfortable in my hand. So, but yeah, those are good options. Like I said, that one's done with tennis wrap, but I know they make a bunch of specific ones now to bow hunting too. But yeah, tape is one of your best friends in the DIY everyday sportsman gearbox.
Yeah. Electric tape, athletic tape.
Duct tape.
Well, Derek,
whatever.
he probably carries athletic tape with him if he's hiking 10 miles in to go hunting.
Yeah, he's probably wrapping up his ankles and everything else.
Yeah.
No, that's putting on some miles. No, definitely uses something other than our lacrosse boots for hiking and that far.
Yeah, he probably actually has hiking boots on.
Yeah, he's probably got legit hiking boots. But yeah, haven't actually had a lot of Q&As. This has been a lot of back and forth tonight, which I do enjoy it for sure. Let's see, what do we got? Let me double check. So nothing brand new coming in on the Facebook. Got 11 total reactions, so a bunch of people tuning into this, checking it out. 3 total live at the moment. 10 different viewers on the Whitetails and Whiskeys on the YouTube channel. So all in all, and then a handful, Dallas, Ed, and Billy over on the Bullhorn app. Billy also says hockey tape is a good one.
Yeah.
That's a Buffalo thing. It must be a Buffalo thing. He's out that way.
Yeah,
Western
Buffalo
New
hockey
York.
tape. Must be a
Hockey tape.
Sabres fan.
Yep. But yeah, so quite a few people tuning in across the board. I mean, it's not like I'm not pulling thousands, but I mean we got a $8 ring light from Staples, a $20 camera off of Amazon, and just drinking a little whiskey and beer and talking about whitetails and enjoying it. I told you it'd be fun. I mean, you tuned in when we did the one with John Teeter, the last one with the Pertinier guys, Billy and those guys.
Yeah, I
You
watched
were hanging out.
Yeah.
Yep. Back when the turkeys were in the barn, they're getting big now. They're out with all the big birds, strutting, gobbling. So if anybody does need a turkey for Thanksgiving, I have a couple for sale. Farm raised, free range, not organic. I don't know. You want to call them organic? I don't know if they're considered organic or not, but
well, you fed them from like Running's feed.
Yeah, Danny Thorne's feed mixed with scratch grain stuff like that. Organic. I don't think that's organic, but free range and stuff like that because I let them out and stuff like that. So, but nah, dude, the Hershey, that one brown one that I was calling Hershey because it was brown, that one's almost as big as Peep now.
Really?
Literally, he's bigger than my hen already, and yeah, bigger than his mom, and he's almost as big as his dad. So, getting all the stuff on the text line. Text line coming in. Your wife?
Yeah, it was my wife.
Telling you to do another shot of bird dog?
No, she was sending me pictures of a little guy.
Oh boy. Yeah, well, we can get Owen on in a future episode at some point.
Yeah.
We'll have to do one for the shed.
Give him a little longer.
Do one from the shed.
He gets a little fussy sometimes. So.
That's all right. That's all good.
Get him a little older and we'll tune him in.
Yep. Yeah, make a guest appearance on it. But yeah, so. Oh, so where's the conversation going now? What do you think, Nate? What's any new gear you're running this year?
New gear? Man, I'm a tried and true guy.
I don't switch a whole lot.
I don't switch much. I guess I am switching my boots.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a big fan of lacrosse, and I love the arrowheads. Loved them. I mean, I've had them for 5 years, and they finally started
giving a bit
leaking in the back. And I wanted to get another pair of them, and I went to Bass Pro, and I don't know. I think I paid $150, $160 5 years ago. They're $240 now.
Yep.
So I got looking around at some other stuff and trying to stick with lacrosse, and I saw their I think it's lacrosse agilities. I believe is what they're called. Yep. Agiles or agilities. And they forwarded my foot good, and we're gonna give them a run this year. We'll see how it goes. I don't know how the thin slit is on them. I really don't like my feet sweat a lot anyway, so I don't run a lot of thin slit.
Yep.
But besides that, man,
that's it.
I stick to what works. You know, I tried changing. I mean, I know I'm not bashing Rage or anything like that. It just didn't work for me. I tried changing some broadheads over because of the hype, and Rage did not work out for me. I switched back over to my Spitfires from Nap.
Yeah, those have been your go-tos forever.
My uncle, who got me into bow hunting, Josh Knapp, no relation to the company.
Right.
But he's the one that got me into it, and those are the broadheads he told me to use, and I just use them. And yeah. I like how you can clean them up, interchange the blades on them and stuff like that, and they fly great. So, yeah, not much changing.
No,
going on to my rig.
Yeah, I had a new muzzleloader last year, which I shot deer with. I had that new pistol last year. Doubled up with the muzzleloader last year on those two doses.
Speed loading.
I could have shot a third one too, but I was like, well, this is going to be plenty to handle for one night. So, no, it was
deer to pull out. You shoot 3.
Yeah. No, it was a bunch of does, late season food source. Like we were saying in the beginning of this big temperature drop, like everything lined up perfect for an afternoon set. And, at that point, my number one buck was dead at the time, looking back on it now. Probably about 200 yards from where I was sitting that night. Funny story with that, but I hadn't seen him in a while. Didn't really have another target buck I was after on that property, and a couple big does walked out, and that was it with the muzzleloader. So I broke that in. I had shot one with my pistol as well that year, so that was new to me this year. Was shooting one with a pistol, and then I had a new bow that I bought from our buddy Jake, and I didn't shoot a single deer with it last year. So that's, I guess, my new gear is I still got that new bow, new to me bow that's got to get broken at some point. But
I don't even know if the past 2 hunters on that killed a deer with it. Did Lou?
No, Lou did.
Lou did kill a deer with
Lou did. Lou killed that 10-pointer with it.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then Jake didn't because he just shot his first bow buck. Shout out to Jake on his bow kill, his first bow kill.
Mm-hmm.
So
smoked it.
Done. Heart shot.
Didn't go 20.
I was there.
I probably shouldn't say that. I was in that patent.
Yeah.
I can't say that. All right, didn't go 21.
Yep, there you go. Didn't go 21. No, that was textbook shot, and that goes back to shooting leagues and why, shooting your bow is important, whether you're in an archery league or not. A lot of guys don't shoot their equipment as much as they really should. I've seen, a couple of years ago, I had heck of years before, right before I met you, really, when I scabbed, 2 or 3 that one season, and then I started shooting the leagues and shooting my bow a lot more, and rather than just dusting it off here in September and trying to shoot it. And
well, shooting those leagues actually tuned me in a lot better. I mean, once you got me into it, it definitely honed me in. I mean, it's just that muscle memory and mental memory. This is the biggest thing. It's just, even if you don't do leagues or anything, I mean, at least I would try at least 3 days a week.
Even if it's
2 days a week to go out there and just throw a dozen arrows.
Yeah, or even 2-3 arrows. If you can get any arrows you can shoot,
just to try and so you remember, so you're not just going into the stand blind.
Yeah,
you go out there and you're trying to pull your bow back and line everything up, and then you wonder why it didn't go where it was supposed to because it was sighted in last year. Well, you got to understand when you're shooting a bow. I mean, you got to line 3 different things up.
Yep.
And then everyone's body changes year to year. I mean, everything's not exactly the same. Everyone's different. So, I mean, it really is beneficial if you want to, I guess, heighten the percentage of you actually putting a solid shot on a deer. I would definitely practice more.
Yep. Yeah, no, and I like, maybe it's when I come in between hunts midday, something like that, or, if I, get out of the stand in the morning, I might shoot a practice arrow or 2. Usually in the truck I got an arrow with a practice broadhead on it or something. I might shoot an arrow or 2, depending on where I'm at and if I got a target there. But I think that keeps me real sharp and confident too. Or if I go out before an afternoon hunt, I might zip 1 or 2, just to really get that confidence and get that that bow back.
Out, just the throw one.
Yeah, because again, you think of it, if you just started now, mid to late September, and then you maybe not have a chance to draw back on a deer till mid-October, it's almost a full month again. So keeping that up during season, I think, is, where guys can help carry that success, from the target to the field.
Yeah, and then you got wild men like our buddy Jesse. He brings his deer target out there as a decoy, and if he gets bored, he'll just throw an arrow in it. Yeah, bored, no deer around. I'm just gonna shoot my deer target.
Yep. Hits it.
He hits it. All right, smokes I'm good. In the stand, smoked it. He's ready.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
He's always joking around, sending videos like that.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy to keep in
100%.
Keep in contact with.
So Liza, it says he's sitting in his swing looking at Daddy's big bucks. Owen is tuning in to the podcast.
Owen's tuning in. All right, he's getting the idea.
Yep. A baby 3-in-1 baby carrier is what Liza says.
Baby 3-in-1 baby carrier. What's that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah. Liza, what's that mean?
Maybe that's one of your carriers is a 3-in-1 or something. I don't know. Is that little rocker thing you got?
It might be.
It might be. I don't know if that's what the 3-in-1 is or not. But
he does like to look at my bucks on the wall.
He does. He does.
Yeah. But then you get that fan spinning, and it's the motion. He completely deters him. I'm trying to keep the fan off,
Squirrel.
keep him focused on the deer.
Squirrel. So, Derek says he's using the Kudu contours for elk this year.
Kudu contours.
I believe those are broadheads.
Yep. I don't know.
The Kudu.
I know what a kudu is.
Yeah, I think the Kudu are, I don't know, maybe they're boots. Not familiar with Kudus. I know Western is like completely different brands and completely different, stuff for a lot of stuff, back east here, with a lot
Derek,
of
what's a kudu contour?
Yeah, Kudu contours this year for elk. I'm assuming that is his broadhead. I think that's a broadhead company is the Kudu. I could be wrong though. Could be boots. And then Derek says exposed cap and loose power here in Idaho.
Fixed blade broadheads.
Fixed blade broadheads. So yeah. Yeah.
So what kind of grains you running on elk, Derek?
Yeah, is it
you running like 125s? You running 140s? I mean, what do you got?
Like 150 with weight up front extra.
You putting extra weight in your insert?
Hundreds.
Just hundreds.
So, but yeah,
it's all about shot placement, right, Derek?
Mm-hmm. Get that penetration. 70. Well, he's shooting 75 pounds too, so that helps.
He's a beast.
Yeah. I think I shoot 63 or 64 is what mine pulls back at.
I'm shooting 65.
Yep. Yeah, mine are maxed. I'm maxed on 60 limbs. I think that comes out of like 63 out of that bow, which is fine. I think that does the job just as good, and I can pull it back when I'm ice cold if we get those frosty, 20s and 30s and stuff like that.
Yeah, you'll stiffen up when it gets cold.
I haven't been moving a lot. The one thing I will say with the stiff that I think has really helped my shooting toward the end of leagues, and now I've definitely seen my groups tighten up, and my longevity of being able to hold steady is going to a chiropractor, dude. I didn't realize how.
Oh, you get your body tuned back in. I tell you what.
Oh my gosh.
You don't know, like, you live with such pain until you actually get your body realigned.
Yeah, or just, the stiffness and just, compromising, different things. So, yeah, I mean.
Trying to loosen up muscles and.
Like, my last 3 weeks of leagues were some of the best I've shot. And then I went to Seneca Lake Duck Hunters for the Finanza, and I shot my best qualifying score. Had a lot of other good shooters there that day. Didn't make the qualifier, but I shot my best I've shot at a competition ever. So, maybe it's the placebo effect. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've been shooting more, but it feels better.
What's the saying? Look good, feel good, perform good.
Yep. Well, I'm still working on the look good part, but feel good, perform good, I guess, is what I'm going for.
But, hey, Hannah likes the way you look.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's not too bad.
But, you're doing all right.
Yep. Yeah, but no, I'm running those. The thing is I've been running those dirt naps the last couple of years. I really do like those broadheads a lot. They've got the job done, everything like that with, the last couple of deer I've killed.
Just running 340 FMJs with this setup.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's basically my deer rig.
Yeah.
You're running my deer rig, Eric. Or Derek, sorry.
Yeah, 340, 5 millimeters. That's mine too with my 60, 63 pounds. So, yeah, that's basically our same arrows, other than we're just a little bit lighter on poundage with it. So, but no, I've been running those dirt naps. The problem with those dirt naps is I couldn't get them to sharpen up on a stone. I had to put them to a stone to get a good edge to them. Because, you've seen me down here last year. I was trying to get them ready to cut paper. The Montex did okay, and then
I thought on those Montex, I thought that
it was hit or miss.
What do you want to call it? The grinded edge on them, the angle seemed to vary per blade. It was some you would get a long angle on, some would be a shorter. Like they didn't have a good consistent.
It wasn't very, very well done for that head, I don't think. And you could get a consistent sharp with it. Like you'd get two, that would cut great. And then, like you said, you get that third one. It's just like, couldn't get a good cut with it.
Right.
And the dirt naps, you could get that, but you have to work at them. And it's not like that standard where you can just run that, that blade on that stone like those G5s. You got to actually like work it with an angle, take it easy, get a burr, clean it up, running on different grits and stuff like that. That was the problem with the dirt naps. I didn't have the out of the package sharpness, and the durability just kind of wasn't there. Like the bleeder blades, you can basically throw them out after you shoot something. They're toast. You can put them through soft tissue between ribs, and they're jagged, cut up, messed up. Just kind of seemed like a little cheaper. So I switched to slick tricks this year. I've always kind of liked a smaller kind of head. I do like those Muzzy hundreds. I might even go back to those, because those are really good out of the package sharp. I just can't get them to fly as good. I am running a hybrid head this year, which is kind of new to me. I ran expandables, ran fixed, kind of running that hybrid from Slick Trick this year, and we'll see how it goes. But it's basically the same cut as their fixed head, but with a couple extra expandable bleeders on it, really. So, and they shoot great. I only had to knock tune one of my arrows. I shoot them right out to like 45 yards is what I can get to the pasture fence. So, and they shot good, the whole way through for me. So, we'll see how they do. Got those. What was it? A couple of years. It's been the limited edition green camo ones from Easton, and now it's the autumn orange ones. Is the new release one. So,
yeah, I got the autumn orange FMJs. 340s.
Yep. So, Mark C tuning in. He's from the south. He tunes in everything I got going on. Appreciate that. Derek, how's the elk meat? What's a good recipe? Pretty much same as any cooked beef. It's my favorite meat next to antelope off of a grass field. So, yeah, I've heard that a lot. That grass fed. I mean, you hear that all the time with beef. Grass fed's better, and a lot of that stuff out there is grass fed. Derek recommended a book by Hank Shaw called Buck Moose.
Could be a recipe book.
Could be a recipe book. Absolutely. No.
I've had elk before. We basically just cooked it just like we did beef.
I've had elk burger before.
Salt, pepper, throw a little butter on it.
Yep. No, I've had moose, elk. I mean, if you think about it, I've had kangaroo before. I was jerky though, so I don't really think that's like, And then squirrel, dude. I love squirrel.
Squirrel's good.
Squirrel's always good.
Going back to Jesse, he's the squirrel legend around here.
Oh yeah, squirrel killing fiend.
He's a legendary squirrel hunter.
Yep. Oh, Liza says the new gear for the year is the baby 3-in-1 baby carrier. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. So, yeah, Ed was asking what broadheads, so we were actually just talking about that. Nate's running those NAPs.
Did you say?
What broadheads
are you guys using and grains? I use a 100 grain Spitfire. It's made by Knapp. It's a 3-blade expandable. They shoot great. They shoot just like a field point. They don't have any of them. I'm not a big fan of Rage with their rubber bands and stuff. There's none of that. It's all like a cam lock system with your mechanical blades on the broadhead, and you can pretty much get replacement blades from it for anywhere. Runnings, Bass Pro.
Yep. And they hold up.
Oh yeah, they hold up. They'll take a beating. But yeah, I've ran them ever since I was started. Since I was 16, I'm 31 now, so however many years you figure that, and they've always been tried and true to me. Yeah,
like I said, I'm just running those new Slick Tricks. It's basically like a I forget what they call them, those little micro Slick Trick fixed blade head. That's what's on the back of it. Actually, it's right up behind you on Bud. This is my arrow I'm running this year. Dirt nap's on the other side of it. That's what I killed Bud with, was a dirt nap. But so with this one, it's basically like their fixed blade, their little micro heads, which I like. So no matter what, you got, 1.25 inches plus of fixed blade head, punching through. Really good chisel point. If you got to get that penetration to get it going. This one does have that rubber band design that you're not a big fan of. Again, I shot this into stuff, but it's new to me.
It's a little different than how Rage ran it. Rage also had it was like a plastic ring that you had to line up
Yeah, so
for them. I did not like that.
those G5 expandables, I ran that 1 year, which I shot a doe with it the one time, performed phenomenally. And then I got a little bit forward on a buck. I don't know where exactly I hit him, if I hit shoulder or if I hit him a little bit up in the spine area. 8 ball actually over there. Found him after season, but it took my arrow and like bent it. So it didn't get any punch or penetration. I mean, I only had, like 3 inches of penetration on that arrow, literally. So that's why I wasn't a big fan of the just a straight expandable from my experience with it. But I've only ran like a 2 blade expandable. I think that G5 I ran was a 2 blade.
See, we touched on this uh,
When you
2
commented
weekends
in,
ago. I commented in, and I'm not a big fan of 2 blade expandables.
Mhm.
I like that third blade on the rotation. Just in case your shot placement isn't the greatest, you have that third blade in the rotation that could clip that top of the lung, or you have that extra blade to clip a vital.
Mhm.
And I think it just optimizes your chance of, because we all make poor shots, we all get excited in the stand, we
Mhm.
all do all that.
It's a living, breathing target. Ain't paper.
So, yeah, I'm definitely more of an advocate for a 3 blade over a 2. So does that answer your question there, Ed?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that kind of fits for our broadheads. Like I said, I still could get a wild hair one day when it's, like I said, 75 degrees in October, and I might throw a couple muzzies on and try to see how they shoot. Just because that's, once in a while I do find myself going back to some of the stuff I shot before, and as long as they can shoot fairly close to what I've been shooting with, my setup grain wise, I'm gonna have to tune a couple knocks a little bit more than what I've been tuning with those to fly like field points, but not too bad, not too bad with it. So yeah, Derek commenting on that book. It's a recipe book with duck, goose, hook, line, and super pheasant, quail, and cottontail. So everything.
Nice. Sounds
A
like a
to
pretty
Z with
cool
it.
book.
So yeah, so Derek says recommending that book by Hank Shaw called Buck Buck Moose. So if anybody's looking for their wild game recipes, might be a good one to check out. I got a couple of them too, that I use, and then sometimes other times I'm cooking, I'm doing that old school by feel or by taste or flavor, whatever you want to call it. But all right, well I think that's a good place to kind of wrap it up for the season. Wrap it up before. Well, we got one more before season, and then everything else will be during season episodes for this. So, I want to thank Nate for coming out, Liza for letting me borrow him for the night.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you could come out for the conversation, and we'll see if we get you on the next week or two, and going forward before season. I know we'll be probably doing something from the deer shed if we can get your Wi-Fi figured out.
And, I did. I got it fixed last
perfect.
night.
Even better. I told you get it fixed as soon as my phone was out of there for a hotspot.
Things might get a little crazy there. I got a kegerator in there.
Well, that's all right. That's all right. I just won't bring the whole, it's like a little studio setup. We'll just do it right off a laptop with the webcam and
hey, whatever.
Do it all
works.
basic.
We could do a deer shed.
Yeah.
Deer shed night.
Yeah. No, I'd be completely open to it. I'm not, like I said, there's nothing fancy. This is just whitetails and whiskey, man. So
whitetails and whiskey.
Yep. So thanks everybody for tuning in. This will be live on the YouTube page. This will be live posted on the Bullhorn, and then obviously for viewing on the Facebook page as well after this finishes up.
One more bird dog before we sign off.
One more bird dog before we sign off. Sounds like a good one. So, like I said, check everything out over on the YouTube page, Instagram posts and stuff like that for season. If you want to see something talked about in an upcoming thing, or maybe a whiskey we should try in an upcoming episode, throw that in the comments too on these in the YouTube or whatnot. We're going to do one more. Bird Dog Apple.
Good luck this year.
Be safe, shoot straight, everybody.
Probably don't have an iPhone charger, do you?
Nope.